Greetings and welcome back. I come to you on what is called the blue moon. Very important time to go out with the old and in with the new, so to speak. I hope everybody had an awesome time at the GOP convention. Here's some of the GOP convention scarves that I made while I was watching it from home. I really liked the idea of a convention without walls. Rents Priebus did an awesome job of organizing and hosting this event to get more people involved in the political process and to understand how politics is supposed to work as an open forum, rather than the tradition of in the past the delegates being invited to the convention. Everybody got a chance to participate with the party platform in this way, and I think that was really great. I also want to say that while most of us were worried about how the convention would play out because of Hurricane Isaac and because of our concerns of the cyclical pattern of Hurricane Isaac, with it being like Hurricane Katrina of the past, we are actually grateful that we even got to host and hold a convention with all of that going on. This is one of the things that comes around every so often that we have to do, and it's one of those things that is not like a party that we have at inopportune times, but it is to get together face to face and to discuss as a party the focus of going forward. I really liked how the convention chose to use the convention as a time of prayer and a time to raise donations for Red Cross. We had a lot of discussion that came in about Louisiana and what their needs were, and the federal government delaying, not in declaring a state of emergency as they had in times past, but that there were other things that were not available to Governor Jindal that Mitt Romney will address with him today. Now moving on to the other parts of the convention that I liked. I think that there was a good series of speeches, even if there was an issue of use of the teleprompter, and everybody knows what I'm talking about. When you have such production to put on, there seem to be a lot of clips or what they call like propaganda-like material, and even if the people who attended that were Tea Party or Third Party or Ron Paul followers or Gary Johnson supporters, if you were not satisfied with the delegate process this year, our plans are to next year seed our funding and put it into escrow and become Third Party, which would give us our own convention and other opportunities. I don't know if everybody heard, but there was a convention that Judson Phillips wanted to put on for Tea Party Nation, and they had to bunk the cost of the hotels because it was too expensive. So in the future, we will be able to honor our commitments by actually planning this a little bit better without having to worry about the financial constraints that come within your own state of representing certain people in the primary and then having to turn around and represent what some people feel as a status quo candidate. I have changed my mind in who I wanted to endorse for president, because as the primary started to emerge, it wasn't that I felt that other people couldn't stay the course. It was what I felt was good for other people and what they represented and what they wanted. Sometimes as chief you'll have that. You'll have a situation where you feel strongly about certain issues, and it's alright. It's just totally fine to be a Tea Party person and a conservative, but feel differently when it comes to general policies, when it comes to our nation and other things. One of those concerns that I have that I did not feel Ron Paul was strong enough on was the position of jobs in order to maintain our freedom. Gary Johnson, while he's very liberal and very supportive of what I call personal and individual freedom, it lacks the economic message overall when it comes to how to go about molding the private sector into something that actually sustains the level of government that we need, and how to get rid of the level of government that we don't need. Which brings me to our budget issues. We've had plenty of time to review the budget and to determine whether or not we should let the Bush tax cuts expire. We cannot continue to use something that is a gimmick that goes on year after year after year to basically cut the pay of Congress in order for people to get tax breaks. Now, I know that everybody is hard-pressed with gas and everything else going up. Most of the people that would be disaffected by an increase of taxes are people that would see an inability to maybe use about $2,000 a year to do something else. I think what it really boils down to when it comes to tax reform and how to work about that in a substantive way is to analyze income, because not everyone, and this is where we get into the 1% philosophy, not everyone is going to be of an income bracket where it is beneficial to them. And what I mean by that is there are certain ways that wealth has been created that are not taxable by the government because current laws do not enable that to happen. I do not subscribe to the 99%, 1% philosophy. I happen to believe that you create your wealth and you make your own destiny. However, with that said, in order to do business in this country, you have to be able to pay in what everyone else should have to pay in. And I feel that the way the current law is, people that make money off of money don't pay enough taxes. There's been a huge storm of issue that was created by Democrats when they participate in the same types of money-making schemes and stock trading and insider trading, and all of these laws have come into examination because of Ron Paul's pledge to end the Fed, and his bill Audit the Fed passed because of these issues. We have too much of an issue where Congress is not paying a direct salary, where they do not answer to us. They end up answering to the banks, or they end up answering to other powerful people in the world. What I mean by that is the situation that we have in Syria. I don't know if you've been following it, but things kind of went off the gills last year in March with the Arab Spring, and the relationships that we had with Iran became very strained over December of last year, with Obama threatening sanctions that he had no right to impose. And what I mean by that is just because someone occupies an office, they have to hold the integrity of that office, or what they say makes absolutely no dent in what goes on in the bigger scheme of the issues of the world. The biggest problem being with Obama having a conflict of interest because of his Muslim past that most people don't want to discuss. We have spent the better time of the congressional break discussing with our family and friends, should we or should we not pursue a formal declaration of war against Syria, because of our commitments that we have already had financially to sustain humanity in the area, and because of our other humanitarian efforts. We feel that this is not just an issue anymore of people not being able to get along with each other or religious differences. We feel that this is considered a government genocide on the part of Assad, and we would not tolerate that from Obama, nor have we tolerated anything like that, nor has there been anything like it in the history of our times since my grandparents' generation of the times of Hitler. With that in mind, it is very important that we take into consideration the costs that will be involved if we pursue a formal declaration of war, what that actually means with modern warfare, with the consideration of use of drones and the cost that that entails, and getting Congress involved in the budget process when it comes to defense and stopping the sequester. With all of that said, we reached the debt ceiling on Thanksgiving of this year. So really the only thing we have to be thankful for is that we'll be getting rid of Obama. I know that a lot of people don't understand why the Senate has delayed so long on his impeachment process, and we cannot teeter-totter when it comes to our position in the world. In order to do that, we need to, as a Senate, take a vote. Whether or not it passes, it makes no difference. America will decide about getting people out of the Senate who have not upheld the will of the people. And it's not just when it comes to foreign policy or when it comes to matters of the executive branch of government. This also concerns major issues when it comes to the cost of Obamacare that has provided no one insurance. Getting into the interest that hits us with the budget. It occurs every 6 to 9 months depending upon how much we borrow, but it's about $700 billion worth of interest that will cause us to hit the debt ceiling again. We're looking at the budget becoming default on October the 1st. We have the rest of this 30 days to either make a continuing resolution, adhere to letting the Bush tax cuts expire, or we will have to seriously come up with another way to pay Congress other than cutting the military. I want to get into our unemployment reduction plan that we've been working on with Mitt Romney, Governor Perry, and Rick Santorum since May. I'm really looking forward to finishing that up. We're pretty much on schedule. We have 3 states to cover for the rest of today, but I wanted to let people know that we have aggressively been analyzing the state economies in order to fix their budgets and to be able to create a liaison between the leadership that we already have before the election to get jobs created before Christmas of this year. And I think that's very important for everyone. I just want to thank you for your time, and make sure that you take today to take stock of what you expect from your leaders and vote accordingly.